So one must ask the question, how we got to a position where like an apolitical dude who's just a gamer who like traffics in memes and whatnot could do such a radical act, like take someone's life. We have the press conference that just took place where they announced they told the preliminary investigations, they showed their work, they announced what the actual what the actual charges were for Tyler
approximately 15 minutes
Robinson, and that's
event,
still going on.
Mr. Kirk
you know
was
what?
answering a question about mass shootings by transgender
We'll get to that in a
individuals
second.
when a gunshot rang
Actually, you know
out.
what? Let's just
The
dive
bullet
right into it.
struck Mr. Kirk in the
No
neck.
personal news,
He
chat.
slumped to the ground almost immediately. The bullet's trajectory passed closely to several other individuals
dude.
beside
I'm
Mr.
saying
Kirk, including
This
the
chat
questioner
deserved the
who
live
was
stream
standing
broadcast of the
directly in front
special
of
report.
Mr. Kirk. Children were visible near Mr. Kirk's stage when he was shot. Mr. Kirk was rushed
we got
to a
genocide
nearby
coverage today
hospital
as well,
where
don't
he was
worry.
declared deceased. The medical examiner's report is still pending.
Some of the news perverts are going to freak
UVU
out.
Surveillance. So at the moment of the shot, a UVU police officer was watching the crowd from an elevated vantage point. As soon as he heard the shot, he began to scan the area for threats. Believing the shot came from a rifle because of its sound, he looked for potential sniper positions. He noted a roof area approximately 160 yards away from Mr. Kirk as a potential shooting position and rushed there to look for evidence. The suspected shooting position is adjacent to an open, publicly accessible walkway. To access the suspected location, a person must climb over a railing and then drop to the roof only slightly below. The UV officer climbed over the railing and down onto the roof. He then walked to the suspected shooting position and confirmed a clear shooting corridor between the position and Mr. Kirk's seat. He also noticed markings in the gravel rooftop, consistent with a sniper having lain on the roof, impressions in the gravel potentially left by the elbows, knees, and feet of a person in a prone shooting position. Police reviewed surveillance from the camera covering the roof and discovered that it recorded an individual dressed in dark clothing cross the railing from the public walkway and drop onto the roof at approximately 12:15 p.m. Although the individual moved out of the camera's view for a short time, the camera again captured the individual running across the roof and then low crawling to the area the UVU officer recognized as where the suspected sniper had dropped into a prone shooting position.
Bro? Where's the gun?
After a short time, which matches the known time of the shot, the individual arose and ran across the roof to the northeast. This discovery led to an intensive review of UVU surveillance recordings to attempt to track and identify the suspect.
Why the early tweet? What the hell? No, I'm just going right into it.
The following. At approximately 11:51 a.m., the suspect entered campus from the north. He is seen wearing a black shirt with an American flag in the center.
Do they have more camera footage that they're just not revealing? I don't understand this part.
Throughout the surveillance, the suspect keeps his head down.
Why are you live so early today? This is when I'm live.
Raises his head enough to get a clear image of his face. As he proceeds across the campus, he is seen walking with an unusual gait. The suspect walks with very little bending in his right leg, consistent with a rifle being hidden in his pants.
What?
This unusual gait
continues. How is he bending
until
then?
the suspect is
How is he
seen
bending
crossing
here
the
then?
railway off the open walkway and onto the roof.
How is he bending his leg then?
View.
That makes no sense.
A camera later captures the suspect as he runs across the roof to the suspected shooting position. Immediately after the shot was fired, a camera captures the suspect running across the roof carrying an item whose shape is consistent with a rifle. The suspect is then seen climbing down from the roof. He appears to drop the item he was carrying as he hits the ground in a controlled fall. He then picks up the item and runs toward the northeast end of campus. Expanded crime scene investigation. Law enforcement officers followed the suspect's escape path to the northeast end of campus, where they believe the suspect left campus and entered a wooded area. In that wooded area, investigators found a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a towel. The rifle contained 1 spent round and 3 unspent rounds. This is consistent with the facts officers observed at the time of and immediately after the shootings. No shell casings were found on the roof, suggesting a bolt action rather than an auto-loading weapon, and only a single round was fired. Each round in the rifle contained an etched inscription as follows. The fired cartridge was etched, no Tyson.
When he was bringing it up secret style, it was wrapped in his pants. After he was running away with it, it was wrapped in a towel. Still doesn't make sense how it was in his pants, though.
That was, again, not spent. The last 3 were not spent, were not fired.
Notices your bulge, ooh,
hey fascist,
and also
catch with arrow symbols. The third cartridge, oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow. The fourth cartridge, if you read this, you are gay, LMAO. The rifle, ammunition rounds, and towel.
You could go to jail if you laugh at that.
DNA consistent with defendant was found on the trigger, other parts of the rifle.
I guess we're all gay now.
The fired
Maybe he was
casing,
woke.
2 of the 3
he made everybody gay.
cartridges.
It's like when I trick you into reading the Shahada.
Law enforcement was unable to immediately locate the shooter, so they published photos of the shooter from the UVU surveillance cameras and asked for the public's help to identify him. Meanwhile, law enforcement continued to try to identify the shooter through other means. The Washington County investigation. On the evening of September 11th, 2025, as law enforcement continued their investigation, Tyler James Robinson went to the Washington County Sheriff's Office with his parents and a family friend to turn himself in. Robinson's mother stated that the following to police. On September 11th, 2025, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was at home sick and that he had also been at home homesick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her husband that the suspect shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed
Is it really
that
illegal
it looked
to
like
laugh?
their
I don't know
son.
anymore. No, man, I'm
He
joking.
also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father
this guy was a gamer
contacted
from
his
Utah,
son
not
and
left
asked
wing.
him to
I
send
can
a
see him
photo of
being
the
woke,
rifle.
man. I don't know.
Robinson did not respond.
Guys, you have to remember something. Like, yeah, this guy killed somebody, but like for the way that like American politics works nowadays, when you're just like, I don't think we should actually assassinate gay people broadly, or like, I don't think we should kill trans people, that's considered woke. Okay. So that's a pretty wide spectrum of people that you could consider woke. So in that regard, yes, if woke means you demonstrate like basic humanity, right? Even though this person did something that's obviously a severe violation of the social contract, inhumane, right? Ended someone's life. Like when they're talking about woke, they just mean like person who doesn't want to literally lynch random people that don't look like them. That's it. That's what they're talking about. So yes, by that standard, pretty much everybody's kind of woke.
To police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. The friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that
Talk
were
to an actual ex-Mormon leftist who can explain this to you. None of this is confusing to me. No,
that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas.
I'm one of the only people on the internet, on the left, that didn't immediately run to the, this is definitely a Groyper narrative.
Mel, who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting. And
like when
and
I say this guy was woke, by the way, I don't mean he's like a card-carrying Antifa DSA guy. I just mean he doesn't think trans people should be. Okay, that's what I mean. Like, make no mistake, their assessment of quote-unquote woke is so expansive that it fits the narrative for every single human being pretty much, okay? I just didn't run with the he's definitely a Groyper stuff. You know what I mean?
Found a photograph of this
but we still don't know. I'll make the assessment in a little bit.
Text exchange then took place. After reading the note, the roommate responded, "What? You're joking, right?" Robinson, "I am still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I gotta grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." Roommate, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Robinson,
Tyler Robinson was a bit of an L roommate, not gonna lie.
Roommate, "I thought they caught the person." Robinson, "No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering." Roommate, "Why?" Robinson, "Why did I do it?" Roommate, "Yeah." Robinson, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence."
Low-key, he's not wrong. Like, if you grab the rifle...
Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Roommate, "How long have you been planning this?" Robinson, "A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there is a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it."
This is giving real Hamas fighters on the radio
Robinson
recordings released by Israel.
"I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. IDEK if it's had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notice bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke all right. I'm going to have to leave it. That really effing sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine, IDK. I think that was a $2K dollar scope. Wink, wink. Robinson again, delete this exchange. Again, Robinson, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me, RN, not answering. Robinson, since Trump got into
we do have a
office, my dad
crisis
has been
in violence in this country, but honestly, we have a crisis in literacy too. Like, this is a 4.0 GPA kid. And even then, he was so fried where he was just like consistently communicating in memes, dude. How was that possible? Like, I've seen like white supremacists who literally write manifestos, and you look at it and you're like, oh my God, this is not the major point, but like, I cannot comprehend how bad you are at writing something legible. But this guy is not like that. He's like a 4.0 guy. What the
The search for Robinson's residence. Police executed a search warrant on Robinson's residence. During that search, police discovered a shell casing with etchings like the etchings found on the shells in the rifle.
I guess he's
near
just like, this is him
UVU.
just doing
Police also
comms
found
with
several
a friend
target boards
or a
with bullet
possible
holes
lover or
in
something. I don't
Robinson's
know.
home. Now, as I stated in the beginning, when I read those allegations, these are allegations. And like the evidence set forth in this statement, those allegations, what you've heard from the media, even from state and federal officials, has not been tested in the crucible of a jury trial. I understand the public's desire to know the facts. My own family members have pressed me for information. Why are we reluctant to share the details of the investigation itself and comment on the case? Because I want to ensure a fair and impartial trial. I became a prosecutor because of my love for the ideals of this great country and the principles embedded in our Constitution. The free exchange of ideas and opinions is critical to this great American experiment, but so too are the protections afforded to the accused found in the Fifth and Sixth Amendments: the right against self-incrimination, the right to a speedy and public trial, the right to the effective assistance of counsel, the right to confront one's accusers, and the right to compel the attendance of witnesses. And perhaps most importantly, under our Constitution, the accused is presumed innocent until we, the state, prove to an impartial jury of defendant's peers his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That jury cannot rely on our allegations, on what they hear in the news, or on what they hear from a public official. The jury is the sole trier of fact, and they will ultimately determine those facts based on evidence a trial judge has determined is admissible. Again, as prosecutors, we bear the burden to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. But make no mistake, we welcome this burden. I'd like to now introduce my trial team.
Bro, they flubbed this investigation big time with Kash Patel too.
This is a veteran and expert team of
I do feel like a competent defense attorney will make mincemeat out of a lot of the process discovery.
One of my two chief deputies, Ryan McBride.
If the jury is boomer, he may walk. Well, I think they're fearful of having like a. This is one of the few instances where you got like a bunch of Mormons in this jury. They're not. I don't know how they're gonna feel about like a young Mormon with an incredible future ahead of him, like cut short by an act of vengeance or something. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
Prosecutors.
Because, like, yeah, there's a lot of people on TikTok that are, he's going to jail regardless, yes. But there's a lot of people on TikTok that are just, like, talking about, like, you've done it. You really pissed us off now or some shit like that. But I'm not so certain that, like, everyone is as hopped up on the Charlie Kirk was our MLK that you see online.
Of the criminal information are merely the first steps in the criminal justice process. Today at 3 p.m., the defendant will appear
dude,
before
it's
a
the same
judge in the
tribalism
Utah
that you
4th
saw from the
District
right
Court
when they
for his
recognized that this
first appearance
wasn't like
to be
the
informed of
normal
these
profile
charges
of like a
and to
septum
ensure
ring
that he has an attorney to
wearing
represent him.
you know,
The hearing will be
transgender
brief.
Antifa
The judge
guy
will
when they were like,
conduct
what the f- is from a good family? Oh no. And then they
WebEx.
significantly
This
de-escalated
is
their
not
rhetoric.
unusual.
Like that's the
In the
same
4th
mentality
District,
you will hear from
all
a
felony
local
first
boomer
appearances
jury
for
in
defendants who are in
Utah.
custody are held virtually.
Like
A
if he
link
was
to that
Brown,
hearing
it's penalty
available
for
for
sure,
media
right?
on the
Do you
Utah
understand what
State
I mean?
Courts. At that hearing, the state will be required to show probable
You're
cause
sleeping on the anti-gay
that
hate in
defendant
Mormon world?
committed
No,
the
for sure.
crimes.
They look at him
The
as like,
purpose of the preliminary
but
hearing
I don't
is
know.
not
I don't
to
know.
determine
I don't
guilt,
know like the
but
mindset of
simply
like
to
boomer
assure
Mormons
the
enough,
court
but
that the
I can totally
prosecution
see them
has enough
looking at the
evidence to
situation and being
proceed
like,
to
he was led
trial.
astray by evil, you know?
If a judge
But
finds probable cause,
but you know, he can
binds the
still be
case over for trial, and
he can still
arraignment
find
hearing
salvation.
will
I don't
be
know. Do
held.
Mormons do that
At
stuff?
that hearing, a judge will again inform defendant of the charges against him and require him to enter a plea to each charge. The next step following the
I
arraignment
feel
is
like
an
everybody does
opportunity
that stuff.
for
You
the
know what I
parties
mean?
to
Like that's
file
just like a
any
very
relevant
American
motions
analysis of
and then
Christianity. No
ultimately the
matter what
trial
like
itself.
sect you find yourself
This
in, I feel like a
case
lot
has
of Americans have
generated
that
a
narrative.
tremendous amount of interest across our nation.
The messages
and
just
even the
revealed that the
world.
roommate slash
The
girlfriend had
public's
no idea what was
desire
going
for
on.
information
Yeah.
is understandable. But it bears reiterating that this
And
case
also
will be
cooperated with the
tried in a
authorities
court of law
instantly.
consistent with our Constitution, not the court of public opinion. Thus, we will only discuss the case with the press occasionally. It will not be a day-to-day or even week-to-week occurrence. But we will only do so in a manner as not to jeopardize the fair trial process. Before I conclude, I want to express my appreciation for the tireless work of our local, state, and federal law enforcement officers. They have an extremely difficult, dangerous, and often thankless job. I'm proud to acknowledge the exceptional work they do every day, and particularly their work on this case. It was truly a marvel to witness. Their skilled work and dedication have brought us to this point.
Enough.
I'm also
Enough. The dude's dad gave him up. You didn't do anything. Bro, these guys literally make it seem like they did Minority Report every time, bro. Dude, so much of like the FBI's terror apprehension unironically is just like getting some 17-year-old Muslim kid online to be like, hey, want to find some Tannerite at this drop site, and then catching them and being like, we thwarted yet another insane Islamic terrorism incident, right? Like it's just like, and it's the same here. They literally didn't do shit, bro. They didn't do dick. They barely found like 3 photos of the dude, of the potential suspect, walking up the goddamn stairs to be like, we did it. We did it, boys. I don't understand.
And just really fast, if you could identify yourself and what organization. From CBS, thank you.
Okay.
Free Israel, though, for real? Yeah, free Israel from Zionism.
They are still looking into it. It's an undergoing investigation.
So is that a possibility?
They haven't ruled that out.
Ed Lavandero with CNN, the text message that you exchanged with the roommate, can you kind of give us a sense of, did that happen over several hours?
They were looking in the bushes. Yes,
I don't
that's
have
true.
that
They
information.
did. They did look in the bushes and they found the weapon. That's true. They did do that.
Did you hear it all from the Trump administration or Governor Cox's administration?
Just realize how scary the repercussions would be if, for example, he was in your Discord server or was a fan of yours. Like people would just use that to be like, oh, Islam's radicalizing young men into killing people. Yes, 100% they would do that. They're already doing that. They've been saying that regardless of the shooter's profile. It's been interesting because, like, one, I was one of the only left commentary people that just straight up immediately said, I don't think this dude's a groyper. I explained the background of why people think he's a groyper, but I said, I don't think he's a groyper. I think he's just like somewhat of an apolitical guy that is like liberal adjacent because he has like tolerance for like some level of tolerance for like gay and trans people, right? Like, which of course by right-wing standards means you are the wokest trantifa. You're trans Antifa. You're basically transgender yourself if you think that like trans people shouldn't be killed, right? So like from their assessment, they just keep trying to angle this as like, this is wokeness. This is wokeness unfolding. But in reality, just, a political centrist overall conservative family, basically on his journey of I guess, radicalizing towards feeling empathetic to other people.
ABC News at times would like to know, how does this possibly interface with any federal charges?
So
that's up to the feds. They have different charges, and they're reviewing the evidence.
Steven Crowder said he was in the ACP Discord.
The evidence and the law,
Okay, dude. I know the ACP boys love LARPing. Okay, they're big LARPs. They love LARPing, but that's such a funny thing to. Like ACP, I don't think has motion like that. ACP wiped their Discord. Everybody wipes their Discord, dumbass. I wipe my Discord all the time too. They get raided. Everybody gets raided. Hate raided by Reupers and neo-Nazis and shit. ACP's 11-person Discord. That'd be crazy.
And is he cooperating since he's been taken into custody?
Ultimately, a judge will determine that at trial.
And cooperation, has he spoken at all? Has he been cooperating?
Again, I'm not going to comment on that.
ACP is the American Communist Party. I'm not even going to get into it right now. Okay,
that's just time online that some say radicalized him.
I am not aware of that information. It's, again, still under investigation.
And has he expressed any remorse so far about this attack?
I am not going to comment on that.
Is he continuing to not cooperate?
I am not going to comment on that.
Mr. Gray, the FBI director has been way out in front in terms of presenting evidence to the public. Your team has been very circumspect, very measured in what they've laid out. Does that hamper your investigation and you go back to this?
Well, as attorneys, we typically like to control that information to preserve an impartial jury and a fair trial.
Also, yeah, ACP is not exactly known for being pro-trans, which is pretty funny. They're MAGA communists, buddy.
What the family said is what I provided.
Mr. Kirk, do you anticipate that the defense will try to get this trial moved out of Utah County, and how will you respond to that?
I'm gonna do the Ken Liegenstein post in a second. To develop a better psychographic profile of the shooter, the alleged shooter. Right-wingers love to have relationships with trans women. What are you talking about? Yo, I never said that they don't.
Reporting coincidence? That will be for a jury to decide.
Mr. Gray, are you confident that the roommate had no part of this attack whatsoever?
Again, I'm not going to comment on the evidence.
But the evidence so far, does it show any involvement?
Again, I'm not going to comment on other than the facts that or the evidence that we've gathered so far.
The suspension of the DNA here in the press conference jeopardized his right to a fair trial?
I don't believe so. This is part of a public document that we have to file as we file a criminal information. We have to file a probable cause statement. That's a public document, and so we're comfortable with that.
Are his parents and the roommate still cooperating?
I'm not going to comment on that either.
The FBI has said that this suspect had a hatred of Kirk. What else can you share about that?
I can't share any more than what I've already said.
This was an incredibly precise shot. Do you have any evidence that he went places to practice or have tracked his movements before the shooting that's given you insight into how he prepared?
The evidence that I'm willing to share is what I just read in our statement, and it's in the information.
I'm afraid we're going to have to cut it off there.
Okay.
Okay. Did you consult Eric and Kirk about seeking the death penalty?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
There you have it, Jeff Gray, Utah County.
Bro. Did we learn anything new here? Like the preliminary investigation, like the only thing that we learned is the secret messages between him and the roommate. Masah pulled the mic. Okay, calm down. And it feels like they basically admitted that the roommate had no idea what was going on. This dude just kind of did it on his own, and then basically revealed to the roommate who was cooperating with law enforcement, by the way. And he called the roommate love, as it my love, and that probably implies that they are in a relationship, right? Family says he leans left, but once again, that assessment implies, and I don't have any reason to believe that that's not true. Okay. I'm just simply stating when a MAGA conservative in Utah says you lean left or you're becoming a leftist, you're like radicalizing or whatever, they just mean you don't think gay people should be killed. Okay. Remember, they were like, Charlie Kirk is a wonderful moderate. Charlie Kirk is on the record being like, the Bible says gay people should be stoned to death. So like, obviously, from that assessment, if you think like Charlie Kirk is a moderate figurehead akin to like an MLK style person, then yeah, you're going to think this guy who tells you like, maybe we shouldn't actually kill people and gay people. They are our friends and it's okay. Like they're going to look at that and be like, this is the wokest person on the planet. This person is basically a communist, socialist, transgender now. Okay. He literally said he can't comment on anything. How are you going to go out there and present what you call evidence and claim as fact, but then pretend you can't comment further and literally say anything? Tyler Robinson was the voter that Kamala Harris targeted with a Liz Cheney endorsement. Yeah. Low key, Tyler Robinson, at least like the politics that they have demonstrated, with the exception of like dating a transgender person, because that I feel like is definitely, I wouldn't consider that to be like the normal position. Like the normative position, like that's not the overwhelming majority of Americans for sure. But beyond that, like if you just look at his politics, from what we understand, from what we have seen, Hasan, they're all chasers. No, I know. There's a lot of people who like, there's a lot of people who are chasers and whatnot. That's not what I'm talking about, right? Like, but someone. Basically, my point is his politics are all over the place in the sense that like he's just like apolitical for the most part, but also doesn't think like gay and trans people are evil, which is one of the most like, that's like half the conservatives that are not online and they're not on Twitter. Like half the people that voted for Donald Trump, if you ask them like, do you think gay people are evil? They'd be like, I don't really care. You know what I mean? The not the 30% base that's like firmly committed to the movement, but like there's a lot of people who feel this way as well. This isn't to say that this guy wasn't, this guy wasn't someone who could be profiled as like lib left kind of like a lib left kind of person, right? Yeah, we'll take a look at the indictment. Obviously, this is what we wanted to see. Notice is bulge ovo. That's the letters on the casings. The roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to police. I suspect that, I mean, this is the girlfriend who is trans. That's the reason why they're saying a biological male. This is also another one of those problems with like not correctly classifying things for political purposes that make it a little bit confusing. So you have to like read between the lines, I assume. What's the evidence this person is trans? Other people have stated this. Like they looked through the person's Reddit profile. Like they were in a lot of DIY HRT subreddits, things of that nature. Like things that you wouldn't. I don't think things you would do unless you were. Not some people are saying, okay? It's before the roommate segment, they talked about how his family confronted him. Yeah. Look, here. Robinson's mother stated the following to the police. On September 11th, the day after the shooting, Robinson's mother saw the photo of the shooter in the news and thought the shooter looked like her son. Robinson's mother called her son and asked him where he was. He said he was home. He was at home sick and that he had also been at home sick on September 10th. Robinson's mother expressed concern to her father. The suspected shooter looked like Robinson. Robinson's father agreed. Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, Robinson had become more political and had started to lean more to the left, becoming more pro-gay and trans rights oriented. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. This resulted in several discussions with family members. So, like, one thing you have to understand is, like, put yourself in the mindset of, like, a Mormon mom in Utah, okay? When you, from their perspective, like, Tyler Robinson became woke. Okay, all of a sudden they think like he got radicalized into being woke, which is again a fairly normal position to be like, yeah, I don't, I think it's fine. I'm pro gay and pro trans rights. Like it doesn't matter to me. It's not that big of a deal. So that is like the reason why that's being presented as woke is because the right want to make the most normal position that one can have, which is to not just like have unlimited hatred in your heart for trans and gay people. They want to present that as like a woke position. It's not a woke position. It's just like a normal position. That's it. Like, that's not, of course, for a Mormon MAGA family, probably not. How is having sex with a trans girl not woke? I mean, it's like asking me, how is having sex with a black girl not woke? Okay. Depending on which family you're talking about, they could consider that to be woke. Okay. That's my point. Do you not understand? Also, there are mad chasers that are right wing as well. Alex Jones is a chaser. Nick Fuentes is a chaser. What are we talking about? There's hella right wing people that are chasers too. So it doesn't even like give you a consistent ideological profile in that regard. Also, this is Gen Z. Mad Gen Z is gay, bisexual, pansexual, whatever. Okay, so from that standard, even the most right wing Gen Z side are woke. Okay, but they're not. Anyway, where were we? Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be pro-gay, dated. She stated that Robinson began to date his roommate, a biological male who was transitioning genders. Now, this doesn't make a lot of sense because, like, it seems like Tyler Robinson was also sheltering their family from this information. This resulted in several discussions with family members, but especially between Robinson and his father, who have very different political views. In one conversation before the shooting, Robinson mentioned that Charlie Kirk would be holding an event at UVU, which Robinson said was a stupid venue for the event. Robinson accused Kirk of spreading hate. Robinson's father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle the police suspected the shooter used matched a rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle. However, Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson, and Robinson implied that he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home. As they discussed the situation, Robinson implied that he was the shooter and stated that he couldn't go to jail and just wanted to end it. When asked why he did it, Robinson explained there's too much evil and the guy Charlie Kirk spreads too much hate. They talked about Robinson turning himself in and convinced Robinson to speak with a family friend who was a retired deputy sheriff. At Robinson's father's request, the family friend met with Robinson and his parents and convinced Robinson to turn himself in. The family friend spoke to police and reported telling Robinson that it would be best if he brought all the evidence with him to the sheriff's office to avoid police having to search his parents' home. The family friend also asked Robinson if he had any clothes that were related to what he did. Robinson replied that he had disposed of the clothes in different areas. So then we get into the roommate, but the parents' suspicion is that the roommate is trans, right? Which still, which of course corresponds to like all of the assessments made by other people about the roommate's Reddit profile, which was definitely the profile of someone who was in the process of engaging in gender confirmation, transitioning, right? DIY HRT, subreddits, things of that nature, from what I understand, according to Liv Agar's assessment. So then we get to the roommate. Police interviewed Robinson's roommate, a biological male, a trans woman, who was involved in a romantic relationship with Robinson. The roommate told police that the roommate received messages from Robinson about the shooting and provided those messages to the police. On September 10th, 2025, the roommate received a text message from Robinson which said, "Drop what you are doing, look under my keyboard." The roommate looked under the keyboard and found a note that stated, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it." Police found a photograph of this note. Oh, that's how they found the note. Witness tampering pertains to Robinson's statement to his roommate, telling the roommate, "If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent." I don't know if that's technically witness tampering. Deleting the text message exchange is witness tampering, but saying stay silent and call a lawyer, that's not witness. Is that witness tampering? The deletion of the text message, like the demands for deletion of the text message, does make sense as witness tampering. That is absolutely witness tampering. But yeah. It's interesting because when you look at the charges and you look at all the evidence that has been presented thus far, I don't know how the right-wingers are going to operate here, but like that hasn't stopped people from obviously saying like this is Trantifa. But so he wasn't a groyper. I told you I don't think that it was too early to make an assessment. I mean, you could still be like a lover with a trans person and be groyper, but like there isn't enough here to suggest that he's a groyper. Okay, that's why I told you like it's important to make honest assessments no matter what, even if it's like even if there's a prevailing narrative. And I think for a lot of people it won't even matter. I think for a lot of people they will go along with, depending on their partisan framework here, depending on what they were that what they were predisposed to believe. Was he an ACP member, Jackson, Hinkle, and Hawes? No, I don't think he was an ACP member. I don't think this dude is even like, anything but, this dude didn't even vote for the Democrats, man. The what are we talking about? He's not like, it shouldn't be that hard for men. God, if you're in this community, I understand why. If you're in this community, I understand why it's so difficult for you to, what is this? It's hard for you to comprehend if you're in a highly politicized community such as this one, for you to go, there is no way this person has like no decipherable political tendency, no ideological tendency, no ideological leaning. I know, okay? I understand that because you are insanely political. But what you have to realize is the overwhelming majority of people in this country do not have the same kind of perspective that you do. Okay? They don't know anything. They don't care about anything. There is nothing that's like decipherable from the perspective of like political radicalization, even though what he did is unique in the sense that you would expect the ideological profile to be very clear. It genuinely seems like this dude was a straight up, just a bisexual, chronically online politics normie who decided to do the unthinkable after figuring out that the figurehead for anti-LGBT was coming to his state. Yes. But even from that perspective, like it still doesn't make sense because the final act here is the act that you would expect from someone who is a radical, right? So one must ask the question, how we got to a position where like an apolitical dude who's just a gamer who like traffics in memes and whatnot could do such a radical act, like take someone's life, right? And that's the reason why I said, judging by what I knew at the time when I wrote the New York Times op-ed, looking at the shooter's profile where I clearly stated to all of you and many people in this community mad at me as well, that this doesn't have the makings of like a hyper radicalized groiper or anything like that when those narratives were being flung around. The reason why I said that is because I know the shooter profiles of people that get radicalized in different parts of the internet. This is why my initial assessment was one that stated, look, as I said, Tyler Robinson Kirk's alleged shooter came from a Mormon family, both law enforcement and military, but I'm not so certain if he himself was right-wing. A lot of memes posted on casings are ironic or of the left variety, different than previous far-right shooters. It's too soon to tell, but this is very important to understand as well. We're talking about like the Groiper angle. Feel like you don't do this unless you're in some right-wing nihilistic brain-rotted spaces. Yeah, I saw that as well. He was talking about like the Gopnik posting. I don't know how to weigh that over the Chow Bella, though. Like, that could be Gopnik posting, which is across the political spectrum. Need more info. Groypers usually hail previous shooters and have way more aggressive slogans they use to signal.